Hello and welcome to this week's Battle of the Ports and Red Heat, developed by Special FX back in 1989. First up is the Amiga version. As you can see, Red Heat is a scrolling beat-em-up of sorts, based upon the film of the same name. You control Russian Moscow militia captain Ivan Danko, who is played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie. The game takes place across 4 levels, starting with a Russian sauna, where Danko must engage in hand-to-hand combat against enemies. The player has a gun and limited ammunition for the next 3 levels, which take place in a hospital, a hotel, and a goods yard. In the final level, the player faces off against the main villain, Rostavili. The gameplay occupies only the middle portion of the screen for cinematic widescreen effect, or so that was the reason given. I think it's just to save on resources myself. Throughout the game, you'll come across various sub-games. One sub-game has the player trying to break apart a hot rock using only Danko's hand. In another, players must put a torn dollar bill back together, while the final 2 sub-games have you arranging a key puzzle and shooting bad guys that appear behind doors. Be careful not to shoot the naked ladies. Shooting the police and your partner is fine though, as those idiots have their gun pointed at you. But how is the game? Being honest, it's crap. The pace is very slow, has sluggish controls, and like so many computer games of the time, the enemies just pile up on you. Game design was never a strong point of these developers in my opinion. Graphically, this Amiga version is fine. It looks nice enough, but you don't buy a game for its looks alone. Sadly, like many games on the Amiga, you can only have sound effects or music, but not both together. The Atari ST port is next, and yep, as you guessed it, this version is basically the Amiga version, only with different sound. Everything else about the game is the same. There's not much more to say really about the game, but I do wonder why Sylvester Stallone is featured in the first stage. Next up is the Commodore 64 version. Quite often the Commodore 64 version of a game can be far more playable than the Amiga or ST versions, but in this case, it is a far worse game that was already bad to start off with. This version of Red Heat moves incredibly slowly, and for some reason you can only attack while punching a direction. The enemies will always just overpower you. It is basically impossible to play this game without cheating. It's one of those games that gives no thought at all regarding fair gameplay. avoid at all costs. Next is the ZX Spectrum port, and this is even worse than the C64. First of all, Arnold looks more like a blue Incredible Hulk. Then we have the enemies that all have been redrawn with a cartoon aesthetic. Actually, this isn't that bad, but what is bad is the gameplay or lack of it. Just like the C64 version, this moves incredibly slow, but at least in the right direction. The controls are ultra low responsive, which is a major issue as the enemies just pile on top of you. In no way whatsoever is this a fun game to play. As to be expected, the Amstrad CPC received a shitty port of the ZX Spectrum version with a slight bit of colour added. It's still totally unplayable and suffers from all the same issues as the ZX Spectrum port. Not recommended at all. And let's take a look at all those versions of Red Heat running side by side.